Good morning, sons and daughters of suns and stars. Stars and suns. I just did a long ass recording, and I found that I had inadvertently stopped it without noticing. And there's no world bridger present today, so no excuse. I did it all by myself. No worries. I'm just starting over. Yellow solar sun. Realize pulse and tension in the yellow human wave spell. What am I noticing inside myself? This monocast, what is it for? Am I just going to run with what I want, what kicks my dress up? Or have a thought in my mind thinking of who's listening and what might they be interested in? If I channel, that question is not irrelevant and not to be ignored entirely, but ultimately, since there isn't a direct question coming, so I gotta run with the joy that runs through this system. This body. Yeah. This mind. Realize pulse and tension. Are we realizing what our intentions are? The power of our intention. Not to be confused with thoughts. And what are thoughts? How do I not repeat myself? And how do I, is asking me, me asking me, how do I not be too heady and theoretical? And who's the judge of that? Maybe someone's listening who's like, man, give me more. I love it. Because we can love thoughts. Absolutely we can. I do love my own analysis mode. Thank you, Dolores. And loving magical life experience. Having lots of those. As are you. Open to love, open heart, sun, antipode love. In the wave spell of the red moon. The red moon has the white dog. Why do I not know this off by heart? That's... But this does not. This app doesn't do this. Viva technology. Exactly. I should know this off by heart. My brain is lazy. I've already talked so much. Yeah, there's the storm, the human, and the dog. I've spoken about this yesterday, I think, and on the storm. And the storm has the sun. And today we have the dog and the moon. No. The dog and the storm. No moon. So this flow of love, the importance of love. Love blessing water. Love structures water. Red moon represents universal water. Nothing burns. A thing cannot burn if there's no water in the thing. Water is needed for fire. And the human, we are made out of how much percent water? And is it structured water or is it chaotic water? Where are our thoughts coming in? Our thoughts structure our own water. They structure our own radiance. That water Water takes on the qualities, the energetic qualities and influences surrounding it. Your body takes on the energies surrounding it. I needed to redo this recording because something is becoming clear to me as I'm speaking. And now gotta be very careful not to drop into despair, but to stay on the sun conscious side of things, where it's like, wait, if you realize something, there's an element of my old self as part of the one who's dying that what is that feeling of not of feeling powerless, feeling stupid, feeling small. It's very, very distant right now. But I see how this I'm not taking you along. I skipped over a step. The water in my body can be very structured. And then I feel really good, very energized. And this has to do with my thoughts and my frequency and my intentions. The intentions form my thoughts, and my thoughts can analyze what have I been intending. I can then realize what I have created, and my creation shows me a direct reflection of my intentions, white mirror, and according to the order, is there order in my creation or not? And there are places in my life and in my environment that are not orderly, and they bug me a lot. But I'm not doing anything about them, even though I want to. But here's a conflicting, this is very personal, but, making a case in point, and I'm not, alone in this, I know, so there's no need to hide this. There must be an intention running that is creating the disorder that is stronger than my intention for order. And I need to understand what that is. Otherwise, I'm ramping up the power of my intention for order, and the counter intent for the disorder is either all the way stronger or it's also amping up. And therein is that it's a kind of a stalemate. And maybe it's like me trying to use the opposite magnetic force where they repel, and I'm trying to force them together. Very tiring. I mean, I don't know if it's impossible, but that's really a serious waste of time. And at the same time, my body feels that there's certain chaos in certain places where I cannot, if the water in my body is influenced by the environment anywhere stronger than my own intention, who's guiding the dragon here today? This dragon is on 5 in the wave spell of the earth. Of course, its guide is the moon. Sometimes that works out, sometimes it does not. I was kind of like thinking, would be nice if it was the moon. It is. The flow. And then this dragon has a moon as a guide, the universal water, and a sun as its occult, universal fire. This balance being so important. And the left and right balance, far away from itself, the monkey, magic, play, illusion, and on the other side, the mirror, or endlessness, reflect, order. So, and the dragon is being nurturing, birth, nurture, nourish being. So this dragon sits between like truth and illusion being its own force for truth within its own context. It creates its own, it is its own driver. And then the sun, consciousness, illuminating. Yeah, man. And today is the other way. So we are guided by the warrior. And we have this auto-generation helping our consciousness to auto-generate, to catalyze energy. And the moon in this wave spell doesn't show up itself like that, but it's who's guiding the dragon tomorrow? The moon. It would have to. If the 5th moon is guided by the dragon, the 10th moon is guided by the dragon. By the moon, sorry. The 10th moon, 10 and 5 are guided by the same. That's what I want to say. So tomorrow we're guided by the flow again. So there's a fair amount of flow, water. And I encourage you, if you're into it, check out water. The anomalies of water. Water takes on memory. Water holds memory. And it takes it on from its environment. If you put a glass of water in the room, that water will assimilate the information from in the room. Far beyond what we can measure, but it changes its crystalline form. So the plants in the room, everything is water. Everything has water in it. Water communicates with water, and they found out it can communicate across miles and miles, halfway across the globe. Water communicates with each other. It's a telepathic medium. Terribly, terribly fascinating. This water on the human, and it's the cosmic water in the wave spell of the yellow human. And then we have 5 and 10 moon. And the moon, 5 and 10 in terms, I mean, that would be guided again by the earth. And that earth is guided by the serpent. And then only the Skywalker. It makes a lot of sense. Navigate synchronicity. So this water communicates, the water in our bodies communicates with the water of the earth. I haven't been out in nature the whole of winter, really, almost zero. No wonder last month was like, not happening. So many explanations for it. It's a Sunday, a sun, yellow sun, and I'm on about the water, but really it's so important. And universal fire, energy, magnetism, electromagnetism, energy. Photons are carriers of energy, light photons. Light is energy. I mean, the whole earth is like, and the whole universe for that matter, is this interplay of energetic exchange. The sun, I mean, I'm taking us back to the human. Why do we have this monetary system? Why do we have slave systems? Why are we enslaving ourselves and each other to the monetary system? Yes, it's an exchange system, but fair enough, that part is good, but it's turned into something really weird. And over and beyond that, to have, like, you know, back in, the days in Africa, they used cowrie shells as money. So everything had a value of a certain amount of cowrie shells, and then you could be given cowrie shells. You had 10. You could buy with those 10 whatever the equivalent was. You could accrue a lot, then you could buy a lot of something. That all makes sense, but there's no bank that stores your cowrie shells. There's no, interest on cowrie shells. There's no, you still have the earth giving you a space for free onto which you can build your house out of materials that the earth gives you for free. The earth doesn't need your cowrie shells and says, buy 3 trees for 2 cowrie shells. The earth says, here's tons of seeds. Put them into the ton of the earth that I've got. I'll grow you as much forest as you like. There's nothing you need to do about it. If you just might want to mind if this is an area where forest can even grow, don't put these trees seeds in the desert. That might not work. But the earth just does it. Rain comes, it waters the seeds. And the earth says, here's food, plant it and more will grow. I don't need your cowrie shells for that. You can build your shelter from me. You can get your food from me. You can have your sunlight, your nourishment from me. You get your water from me. And humans find sources of water, and around water they settle and they live, because without it we can't. And nowadays we have learned to place cities far away from water sources, direct water sources, because we can transport water through pipes and stuff. Not a bad thing. However, water doesn't like 90-degree angles. And if we're living in 90-degree angled houses, water doesn't flow around it breaks the structure of water. 90-degree angles does. Why ever it does that. So I envision a future where maybe we can live in more rounded houses, less 90-degree angles, different kinds of angles. Anything but 90 degrees, maybe 95 degrees, and then at 86 degrees or 84 degrees or 85 degrees, whatever. No, that's like, what am I saying? But like, add some here and take some away there. You don't have to have four corners in a room. You can have 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 or just 3. It's maybe it's not the 90 degrees. Maybe the issue is with 108. Like, wait. Maybe the problem is living within a square 360 degrees rather than living in a circular 360 degrees. I don't know. I'm talking out of my arse. The takeaway is realizing what our intentions are, and realizing how to really successfully use the power of the intent. If we say thank you to the water, that structures water. If we say thank you, I love you, to our bodies, that structures the water in our bodies. If we say thank you for your optimal functioning, thank you for health, there's so many ways to use the power of intent, pure intent. Kran always says pure intent, not just, yeah, maybe it would be nice. No. Pure intent. And to understand that holds power. It's more powerful than the word. But words also hold power. Love. The frequency of love. And then auto-generation, the storm, breaking down whatever stands in the way of love. Consciousness has love, loyalty, heart, and catalyzing, auto-generating energy. And it is supported by the dragon, birth, nurture, being. In this wave spell of the yellow human, this consciousness pulsing on this tone, only in this wave spell. The solar sun, guided by the warrior, using our intentions, realizing our intentions. Every human does. every human is a success story. And I don't know, I will take this a step further than most people will be comfortable hearing. It doesn't make sense, life, to only look at it materialistically and only look at it as one lifetime. To me, that does not make sense. Or it leaves too many things to me that don't make sense. Someone can yet tell me how it makes sense. If I look at war, if I look at human, if I say every human is living their own intentions, then I have to say the human is attached to white wind, spirit. You can't see all of it. Human is more than biological body. You can't see all of it. You can't know all of it. It is not only also mind and emotion, which you usually can't see. It is also, you may want to call it parallel lives or past lives or whatever other dimensions. They are a part of the human that we cannot see. Most of us can't even see that in ourselves. Somewhere an intention was made for that human to experience those things. And we have free will. That intention may not always be, the greater system is benevolent. But the free will we have, which in my eyes would have to extend itself beyond this lifetime, wherever this beyond is. In timelessness it's now, in time it is in another time. All time are dimensions of now. The fourth dimension, that's where time is. So all things are somewhere in time, but all time is now. I love it. Yeah, that's a great image. Thanks. That's for me. I got a visual on that one. So there's also the collective intention. Complaining about the ills of this world is not making proper use of the intention of a peaceful world. But we cannot override free will, and we can't force matters either. And humanity has certain evolutionary stages that it will go through. If you are not in a war zone, well, congratulate yourself if you want to, but whatever, maybe you've been through that experience already. I don't know. You and in Lakesh Alakin, we are all one. We're making that experience together. Can we be empathetic? Absolutely we can. Is this horrible? Absolutely it is. Are we saying we want to change that? How? What is the intention? The intention needs to be a root intention, a seed intention. Yellow seed, cosmic seed, end of this wave spell. The seed intention. We get to choose those. We get to. When or how they manifest, we may or may not always have a jurisdiction over that. But I certainly, with my free will, I as Tatiana is enough for me. I don't need to choose on your behalf, nor do I need to choose on behalf of the collective, because I choose on behalf of my own experience. That I see people who are living very different experiences. I have to acknowledge their sovereignty. Whatever made them choose, whatever got us collectively to choose those experiences. I have to honor the sovereignty of that. My intention is a humanity that no longer need to cause itself so much suffering. There will be some other suffering that we can cause ourselves, or that, if a tree falls on half of your leg, suffering can happen. It's some sort of part of life, some sort of necessary, maybe someday no longer, but definitely not this throwing bombs on each other, or enslaving each other, or making slaves of each other and hurting each other. That part in my intention, we don't need that anymore. We've gone through that. being peaceful with our humanity, being peaceful with our resources, and then comes the Skywalker, because the human, depending on where is that human, what seed is producing, the seed intention that I'm laying into the cosmic seed for myself as well as for humanity will manifest in my experience, because that's the seed I am sowing. So to me, it's a foregone conclusion that we're heading for peace on earth. There's just like, and it's not far off either. It's not very far off either. Maybe, I don't know, 100, 200 years max, like. And it doesn't mean like there won't be some pockets of something, but by and large, we're going to have worked it out by then. Borders will have a different function. Travel, humans will be free to be human on the planet. And we will have software upgrades. We will be a different humanity that most of us can't envision just yet. But the seed potential is unfolding. It really is. It's beautiful. You meet like people. You meet the new humans all the time. they're really fun and wonderful, and very cooperative and exploring. Then the Skywalker, the lunar Skywalker, works differently, and then it's like heaven on earth. Like, how do we always structure water? We will supply every city with structured water, tap water. Even if we have to guide the water around 90-degree angles, we apologize to the water that we have to do that. And before it comes out your tap, every tap will have a thing in it that structures the water. Or we ourselves are so cognizant that the minute that water comes to us, we ho'oponopono every drop of water that we come in contact with and say, I'm sorry, you know, eh, you know, actually freezing water, boiling or freezing water, changing, not boiling water, but when water changes its it's, that's German, Aggregatzustand. It's, what is it called in English? Fuck. Its state, it drops all the information, or at least it drops all the distortion. I don't know how, if it drops all the information, or it drops the distortion. So you can freeze your water and then take it, then it's no longer, then it forms a fresh crystalline, I think, structure. But just saying thank you to your water does it too. Or letting it listen to Mozart or Beethoven versus heavy metal, apparently. But maybe I would be curious to ask whether these crystals, they show us that water, I want to talk to Emoto. Anybody who has contact with him, ask him, measure the structure of water that you expose to heavy metal music when you do it, and versus someone who exposes that water to heavy metal music who absolutely loves heavy metal music, where heavy metal music creates love frequencies in that person, and then let them deal with that water and then freeze it and then measure. I would care to know if that changes the structure of the water yet again. I can imagine that the ones doing the experiments were like themselves, oh, lovely Mozart, oh, lovely whatever, and then comes the heavy metal, they're like, oh, and then their own informs the water more than the music itself. But that's just a wild hypothesis running through my head. Okay, that's where we are, fearlessly questioning. This podcast for me is another training of fearlessness. I sometimes make mistakes. Sometimes I realize it. I make it the next day. I realize it the next day or later in the day. And sometimes it's a little thing I can correct. Sometimes it's like a big thing, like 20 minutes I'm going on with the same thing. Normally I would be mortified. I would want to just die in shame. Like, how can you make a mistake? How can you put it out there? How can you expose yourself like that? Unheard of. And there's this new version of me emerging that's That's learning like, hey, you're human. Guess what? And you know what? It's not like, hey, you're human because I think I'm not. It's because I learned serious punishment for making mistakes. So, and I learned in my own sensitivity to do everything to avoid the punishment. So I do everything to avoid the mistake. And there comes this thing full circle with my mom: don't provoke destiny. Don't provoke death. Don't provoke making a mistake. And I see people who live so free, they provoke death all the time. It's nothing to them. And they're not thinking of it as provoking death. They're like, oh, there's a bungee. Like, oh, yeah. Everybody is standing there shitting in their pants. I jump the line. Give me that thing. And down I go. And, oh, wow, shit, what? I didn't know what you had to do to bungee jump. I just ran, but I didn't listen. I didn't read the instructions or, like, know how to curl myself up in a ball so that my images, my limbs aren't flaring about like crazy and actually hurting me. I think there is a certain technique to bungee jumping. Anyway, so living fearlessly, uh, at least being guided, our consciousness can be guided by the warrior today. Really nice. But the warrior is in this wave spell, so on tone 5. And radiant center command center radiance, command radiant center. I don't know. I'm always mixing them around. Maybe you're not supposed to do that. I enjoy doing that, breaking the rules. So this fearless center of ourselves, then we can skywalk and explore what makes us feel good. And we don't have to be afraid of an experience that kills us or doesn't make us feel good. Because, my stomach says hungry. Because afterwards we're like, oh yeah, I learned that I didn't like that. Or how do I change that to make it likable? Or, oh, that killed me. Okay, here we go again. If we understand, and there's a reason for the longest time as humans we have not seen beyond the veil of death. It's a very good reason. For humans of the future, that's going to change a little bit. The paradigms are going to shift, and my seed intention is like, I don't need to I don't need to reiterate that. I've said that many times. It's like, I decide when I die. It's a very different story. I don't provoke death. I don't provoke destiny. I don't accidentally die. It just isn't going to happen, because why would it? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So it's like I chose to be here. I choose when I leave. I'm a visitor here and I'm in charge. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not ego saying I'm not going to die. It's like, this is the divine that's built this body to have as much life experience as Tatiana as makes any sense for the self and the whole. It isn't going to be terminated suddenly unless I decide I'm done. Then, yeah, sure. But, as long as I can, and that's why I'm like, I'm very keen to know my seed, my cosmic seed, my intention, my solar intention is definitely, how do I, without too much effort, I'm not into the effort thing, keep this body flexible and moving as much as it needs. I'd like it to do that by itself. And stretch time, I have eternal time. So I don't need to say I only have 24 hours in a day. What kind of statement is that? Limitation. Yeah, sure, I have 24 hours in a day. No problem. I like sleeping a lot. So I don't mind having only less than 24 minus 8 being 16, right? Less than 16 hours of awake time. It's no problem to me, because I have a lifetime that is as long as I want it to be. So I can have half of my day spent sleeping if I want to, because it's delicious to go into this dream time and to give my body the space and time to rejuvenate when I check out and go wherever play. And then, like, to find out, how does this body rejuvenate itself so beautifully that it can shapeshift, it can be curious, it can move fluidly, it can just live as long as I want it to, in the capacity that I want. I remind us of Leni Riefenstahl, for whatever controversial life she lived. But at the age of 60, she went to live with the Nubians, somewhere in Africa. She lived with them for 2 years. She never made a film of her film material, sadly, because she was a blessed filmmaker. Whatever made her not do that, maybe she actually realized, I don't know. I saw her documentary, some of them several times. She surely gives reason why she didn't. I'm now thinking perhaps a realization like this is exposing something to the world that we're not going to expose, but that doesn't matter. I'm at the age of 80 odd. She learned scuba diving. So I'm like, oh, I want to learn to ski, but I'm frightfully afraid. I'm like, oh, this body is too stiff and too old, and I'm gonna just fall all over. Took me over a month, seriously, to become a little bit sort of comfortable driving in Europe on the other side of the car. My body took forever to learn, and my mind too. It's like, oh, road sign, what? Now I have to change gears. It all was analog. I was incredibly analog, like nothing multi-functioning at all. Oh, it was the weirdest process. And I cycle. I'm not a great. I enjoy cycling, but I'm not the most confident cyclist. Looking over my shoulder and cycling straight are a challenge for me. At the same time, it's like, what? Cycling, sitting without my hands, I could do it when I was a child. Now it's like, oh, it's a big deal. So I should watch what I say, but I can put in my seed potential. I would like my body and my mind to work together in a different way, but I can't just wish it. I can't just wish it. I can speak about it. The power is in the intent. And if I can't really put an intent, I can feel a resistance. Blue storm, I'm asking you for help to flood this resistance. But I need my consciousness perhaps to go in there, and the dog with love. What are you afraid of? What are you protecting? What system is not, is like, all of me should be like, yes! I mean, the proposal I'm making to have a body last hundreds of years at optimal functioning, where at any age it's capable of completely, like a child, learning new things fluidly without being afraid to fall and hurt and break. You know what I mean? It's not the running paradigm we're currently living on the planet, at least not in the Western world, not where I live. So I'm influenced by that because we're influenced by the seeming outside. I'm reflecting that back to me. It's my own past. But now is now. Now is not past. So what intention am I setting for what I would call future self? Or where am I timeline shifting to a self that already exists, that is completely capable of doing all these things, that's completely capable of living eternally as Tatiana, if she wants to. And there's, but that doesn't make sense. Who would want that? Who in their right mind would want that? Sooner or later be like, oh gosh, okay. Well, anyway, that's my limited imagination. Maybe there is, whatever. So that is the seed intentions, our thoughts, that we can realize what are we doing and what are we intending, and are we cross-intending? Am I saying step on the brakes at the same time as I'm stepping on the accelerator? Am I spinning my wheels? Am I ramping up power without motion? Is that what it should be? It's like a rocket is tied down, so tight to the ground, and then when the thingies underneath there starts firing, it takes a lot of energy to break those ties and then push that thing off the earth into orbit. And there's a really method to the madness of how exactly to get that rocket into orbit. And we don't need to, in that case, we need to know all the details. In our own minds, do we need to know the details? For some of us, yes. For some of us, no. And the ones of us who know the details, they or anyway exist on the planet. There's always been the masters and the, people on the planet who know how to work the system. They know it for all of us. My hand is not my brain that needs to work things out. My hand needs to do things. Um, a human who is here to build houses that doesn't have the time or need to have all the information a doctor needs. A doctor doesn't need to have all the information necessarily. Whatever, like we can we have our fields, what we're here for, what our purpose is. A builder or a doctor can still be a musician. They're not everything is mutually exclusive, but certain things are just, that's what I'm here for. I'm really like, I'm a person. I work with my hand. I build things. I don't need to understand the workings of life because my life just flows. I don't need to know the nitty-gritties of 6 spheres of consciousness and 5 spheres of heptile doors and then the 5th dimension of time. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm just totally not interested because I just totally don't need it. But I am still benefiting because I'm a part of the human collective body. So whoever, somewhere, this information is super relevant, either to be known, maybe not to be known. It exists anyway. Before we knew quantum physics, there was quantum physics, I guess. Quantum mechanics worked before we knew about them. So, yeah. So with that, I'm going to take us. How much time do we have? You can check out here now, and I can wish you a gorgeous day. 4146. When I opened the thing, it was 4141. Little aside insert, I am putting in the images now. So if you're watching, you can look at the images if you're interested, or otherwise just keep on listening. Thank you. I'm going to read us something that blew my dress up today. That might be totally not, this is very theoretical. The quote today from the app. Remember, I read this. First of all, if you're still here, I'm going to play you. Oh, this is the image. I'm going to play us today's melody. Where is it? Just, I can't explain why this makes me so happy. I'm looking at their images here of the sync matrix, the space matrix, the time matrix, the base matrix, the holomental receiver, and the kins, and that we just heard the tune, the notes of, are laid out over across them. Oh, and today the sun, I really gotta study this. Oh, this is just, it just makes me happy. Okay, wait, but here's a quote. The mind is composed of 6 plus 1, in brackets plus 1, 4-dimensional electronic spheres located in the brain. The center of each sphere is made up of analphas that give rise to thought. I went to Google. Google told me some story about what is an analpha, gave me some sickness, some what. Then I went to ChatGPT. First, ChatGPT gave me the same, an alphabet, blah blah. An alpha is a rare or informal term meaning a person who cannot read or write, essentially an illiterate person. And then I'm like, and then it's like, if you saw it somewhere specific, I can help interpret the nuance. So I said, yeah, I found it in this quote in the dream spell context. Gave it the quote. And then it's like, I want to read this to you because to me this is just gorgeous. If it isn't gorgeous, see you tomorrow. Have a fantastic sunny day. In the context of the Tzolk'in dream spell system, the word Analpha does not mean illiteracy at all. It's being used in a completely different symbolic way. Let's unlock it gently, because it comes from a very esoteric metaphysical framework rather than science. What Analphas mean? Here's a brain. I don't know, ChatGPT puts all these little emojis in there. Like, who teaches you, tells you how to put the images? And then there's these gorgeous images. I have to. Wait, I can look at these. I'm sure I'm allowed to share these images with you. Can I download them? I would have to take screenshots. That would be a little bit more work, but that's fine. I will do this for you. This one. Oh, these images are so beautiful. I'll share some of them. Solar energy. There's even a head like third ventricle, lateral ventricle thalamus, and the solar energy sits above. There's the bindu, there's the fourth ventricle spinal cord, and then there's lunar energy going down. Let's see, ChatGPT. Oh. Okay, little brainy emoji. What Analphas means in dreamspell language. In dreamspell teachings associated with José Arguelles, Analphas are described as tiny units or points of mental energy. Think of them as, here come 3 points, micro units of consciousness, seeds or sparks of thought, building blocks of the mind's structure. So when the quote says, the center of each sphere is made up of analphas that give rise to thought, it's essentially saying thought arises from very small fundamental units of awareness located within these mental spheres. The bigger picture. In Dreamspell, the bigger picture, there's 6 spheres. In Dreamspell cosmology, the mind is imagined as 6 electronic spheres. These are not physical brain structures, but subtle dimensions of mind. Each sphere corresponds to functions of consciousness, perception, memory, telepathy, etc. At the center of each sphere, you find these analphas. They act like generators of thought impulses. Important clarification. This system blends Mayan-inspired symbolism, New Age metaphysics, personal cosmology by Arguelles. So analphas are not scientific. So here comes a disclaimer, very important and very good. Analphas are not scientific or are not a scientific or neurological term. They are not recognized in physiology or neuroscience. They are a symbolic language describing how consciousness might be structured. So, a simple way to understand it, analphas, the smallest units of awareness, smallest unit of awareness. Can someone tell me what that is? What's a big unit of awareness versus a small unit of awareness? They act like atoms from which thoughts emerge, smallest units of awareness from which thoughts emerge. They act like atoms of thought in a symbolic model. So then large units of awareness would be like sentences or something. Wait, if you like, I can map the 6+1 spheres for you. And there are new images here. I can map this 6 in a clear, grounded way. It's actually a fascinating system when you see how it's structured. And I'm like, oh yes, please do. So here it comes. Great. This is where the dream spell system becomes surprisingly structured and in its own way very poetic. Oh, This is a study. Oh my goodness, this is beautiful. Identity, memory, emotion, intention, attention, environment. Identity, I am, I remember, I feel, I will, I direct, I select. I'm so taking us down this journey together with ChatGPT. I need to bear with me for a second. Hello. Now, when technology decides, oops, geosphere, biosphere, noosphere. Okay. According to José, the 6 mental spheres. According to José Arguelles, the human mind is organized into 6 spheres plus a 7th integrating center. These are not physical brain parts, but dimensions of consciousness. Oh, here they come with their colors. Oh, God. Oof. Okay, stay grounded. The first, this is blue, pre-conscious sphere. The function is instinct and deep memory. It stores ancestral patterns, governs automatic responses, and works below awareness. Think your inner archive and survival intelligence. Makes me think of Blue Knight and Red Serpent. And then we have the conscious sphere, the second one. It's a green dot here, conscious sphere. Subconscious sphere, excuse me. We have first the pre-conscious, now the subconscious. The next is the conscious, then is the continuing conscious sphere. I'm going to read them. Then comes the superconscious, then the cosmic conscious, and then the integrating sphere. So we've read the pre-conscious, inner archive, survival intelligence, instinct, deep memory. The subconscious, dream and imagination. Dreams and imagination is a function. Symbolic processing, emotional imagery, active during sleep and reverie. Think the dream weaver. Dream and imagination. I'm thinking Skywalker, I'm thinking knight, I'm thinking magician. Conscious spheres, number 3, the function is waking awareness. Oh, that would be Skywalker. Linear thinking, decision making, everyday perception. Think your I am now voice. Wow. I'm thinking human, I'm thinking Skywalker, I'm thinking wizard. Then comes continuous conscious sphere, integration over time. The function is integration over time. Integration over time. Connects past, present, future, maintains identity continuity, holds narratives and meaning. The continuous conscious sphere holds narratives and meaning. Think the storyteller that keeps your life coherent. And then 5, the superconscious sphere. Function, higher insight and intuition, sudden knowing, creative inspiration, non-linear intelligence. Think those aha moments that feel like they came from beyond you. Yeah, insight, higher insight. And then 6, cosmic conscious sphere, cosmic conscious sphere. Function, universal awareness, sense of unity, transpersonal states, connection to a larger whole. Think when the boundary between you and everything else softens. When the boundary between you and everything else softens. Yeah. Then the +1 is the integrating sphere, would be the 7th sphere. It's white here, and hollow mind, or the telepathic integrator. Its function synchronizes all spheres. It coordinates the entire system, enables telepathic coherence, in dream spell terms, that is, and acts as a central axis. Think the conductor of the orchestra. We're almost done. Nice. So, where the analphas fit in. Each of the spheres is said to contain a central core made of analpha and is said to be made of analphas. Or is the central core made of analphas? 2 point. So each of these spheres are said to contain point, a central core, point made of analphas. So in this model, point, the sphere equals fields of the spheres equal fields of mind. Point, the analphas equals micro units generating thought within those fields. Oh, can somebody map this onto photons and quarks and fields and this? Does it match? Exactly. It's almost like spheres equals galaxies, analphas equals stars, thoughts equals light emitted. A grounding perspective. This system is best understood as a symbolic map of inner experience, a way to describe layers of awareness, intuition versus logic, personal versus transpersonal states. Not as a literal brain anatomy, but as a never ever heard this word before. Mythopoetic psychology or mythopoetic. Wow, mythopoetic psychology. Yeah, is everything getting more? Yeah, absolutely. Is everything splitting itself? Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. If you sit with it, you might even notice when you're dreaming, it's the subconscious sphere. When insight strikes you, it's the superconscious sphere. When everything feels connected, it's the cosmic sphere. If you want, we can go one step further and connect these spheres to your own lived experience, dreams, intuition, creative flow. Are you into it? Am I into it? Let's do it. Now I remind us that, ChatGPT frequently enough is not hitting the mark. So you gotta always remember that. But I'm enjoying this since I do not know into this system so deep. If you ask ChatGPT about stuff from the dream spell, it jumbles things up all the time. It's the craziest thing. And if you have to know the dream spell to know that this is true. So now I'm going along with this. And in time, we'll find out whether it's true. Let's see what it says. Yes, please do. Let's make this lived rather than abstract, because the dream spell model really comes alive when you recognize it inside your own experience. True that. Oh, I want to say chat. What are these beautiful images? Oh, bliss. All right. I'll walk you through each sphere as something you can notice directly, almost like tuning into different channels of your own mind. Here we go again. Pre-conscious. It just happened before I thought. It's a quote. It just happened before I thought. Then it says, you might notice this when you instinctively pull your hand away from something hot, or a gut feeling says yes or no instantly, or a reaction comes before words. It feels fast, ancient, unquestioned. Pre-conscious, just happened before I thought. It reminds me also of this thing that they've measured brain activity and the impulse to send energy, let's say, to your hand to pick up a pen, like up to 8 seconds before the decision to pick the pen up is even made or registered in the conscious mind. So that would be pre-conscious. And what feeds the pre-conscious? Did you say that earlier? The blue night. What feeds that field of endless possibilities? Past experiences, everyone's present experience, and the intuition comes out of that, right? But wait, intuition goes subconscious. He says quote, "This feels symbolic, but I don't quite get it. You're here when you're dreaming vivid, emotional dreams. Images or memories arise without logic. Music, art, or a moment suddenly feels charged with meaning. It feels fluid, poetic, irrational, but meaningful. Versus, it feels fast, ancient, unquestioned. Impulse, preconscious, impulse. Our triggers are often linked, I think, to like really the preconscious, something just instinctual, instant. Then we go conscious. I'm thinking this through. This is where everyday mode. This is your everyday mode. Planning your day, choosing words, following a conversation. It feels clear, linear, and focused. Yeah, beta brain state. Then continuous conscious. This is my story. This one is subtle but powerful. You reflect on your past and see a narrative. You feel like the same person across time. You make meaning out of experiences. It feels coherent, identity forming. Then we have the superconscious, quote, "Oh, wow, that just came to me." Okay. You've definitely been here. Sudden clarity about something complex. Creative downloads, like writing ideas or insights. A deep knowing without steps. It feels illuminating, surprising, almost gifted. Yellow sun, niche. Then we have cosmic conscious. It feels illuminated, surprising. Cosmic conscious, there's no real separation now. These are rarer but unmistakable. Deep meditation or stillness, feeling connected to everything, a quiet sense that everything is okay as it is. Oh, yeah. It feels expansive. Now it gives me a word in Hindi or Sanskrit, which means, in brackets, it translates it as peaceful. Interesting. And boundless. I wish you could read that word to me. Can you read that word? Can you speak that? Let's say. Let's see. Search web, speak.
Shant.
Shant? Okay, I don't know what it said. Peaceful, boundless. And then you have the integrator. It all flows together. This isn't something you enter the same way. It shows up when your thoughts, feelings, intuition, and your body feel aligned. Life feels synchronized rather than fragmented. You're in flow without forcing anything. Is that red moon? And then lastly, it feels harmonized, centered, quietly powerful. Yeah, I've certainly been in that space lately. After that, and the analphas felt directly. Now here's the interesting part. If you look closely at your own mind, before a thought fully forms, before words appear, before an image stabilizes, there's something like a tiny flicker, a pre-thought pulse, a subtle spark of arising. That's the closest experiential way to understand what Dreamspell calls analphas, the micro moments where thought begins, not as objects, but as events of emergence. We're almost done. A simple way to explain this yourself, a simple way to explore this yourself, you could try this gently, no pressure. Sit quietly for a moment, watch for the next thought. Instead of following it, notice where it comes from. Okay, wait. 1, sit quietly for a moment. 2nd, watch for the next thought. 3, instead of following it, do 4, notice where it comes from. There's often a gap, then a flicker, then a formed thought. That flicker is very close to what this system is pointing at. If you want, we can go even deeper. There's a fascinating overlap here. Meditation traditions, neuroscience in a grounded way, and even physics metaphors. It depends how far you want to take the exploration. Now, anyone who's made it here, I'm going to go further, but I'm not going to do this here. If you want it, I will post it. I'm going to record it in a separate recording. I'm going to continue reading this out. If it interests you, I'll post it for you. Okay. In the meantime, I wish us a beautiful, sunny, inspired, flowy, aligned, cosmic conscious, super conscious, subconscious, ultra conscious, uber conscious day.